This is Rubbernecker stamp set number 913, 3 roses. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the stamps off of the plastic insert and we're going to lay them over the top of the image itself, aligning them with the image. We're going to take an acrylic block and lay it on top of the stamp. We're going to keep this edge parallel with the packaging. I'm going to do that for both of these. Just like that. Okay. And that lets us have some chance of aligning these stamps when we go to stamp them together. So the first thing we're going to use is the solid portion. I'm going to take a water brush. We're going to pick up a mixture of Ken Oliver's Lemon Yellow Color Burst and a Phthalo Green Color Burst. There's a very little green in this with a lot of yellow. And I'm going to find, using the packaging, I'm going to find the leaves on the stamp. And I'm going to give them a little bit of this yellow-green color wash. And it's watercolor, so if you don't get it exact, it'll be okay. Alright. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the phthalo green in its full strength on the tip of my brush. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that to the flowers so I get a little bit of an accent color. And if you didn't get it where you want it when you stamp it, you can come back and you can add to it. It's a watercolor, so you can add color to it and build on top of it after you've got it stamped down. Now, for this one I'm going to use the Color Burst Fuchsia. This is from his new Caribbean Bright set. So I just want a little bit of this. And I'm going to work up just a real light red all around my rose. Doing my best not to drag the green into it. Sometimes I'm good at it, sometimes I'm not so good. Looks like my hand's fairly steady. No coffee yet. Okay. When you do this, it'll want to recede from the edges of the stamp. I usually just come back and give it another coating around the outside edge. It'll slowly sit there for you. Even though it looks like it's receding, it's really not. It's just drying. It dries from the outside in. Okay. And then with a little more water and a little bit more of the color directly onto my brush, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give these some rose-like swirls in here. Just random, more color. The swirls won't necessarily stay for you because when it gets wet, it's all going to bleed. Alright, piece of 110-pound watercolor paper. And we're going to give a spritz of this water. So everything's reactivated. And you can see the water kind of pool up on top of it. I'm going to stamp that right like that. Block edge parallel with the paper. If you get the block edge off and not parallel with the paper, just make a note of how you did it so that you can put the next one on in the same way. And it's not a lost cause. Okay. On this one, when I don't have quite enough water and I get some of the pebble effect coming through on the rose, I definitely leave it. I really like the way it feels on these. You can see the color separation coming up as it starts to dry. And you can see that the swirls I put on, they basically disappear, but I do have some darker colors in those areas. The heat gun curls the paper. When you're doing this, just set the card aside for 10 or 15 minutes. Let it dry naturally. Alright, so now I'm going to take this VersaFine Onyx Black pigment pad and I'm going to go over the top of my flower on the outline. And positioning it with the edge of the block parallel with the paper. Find my space underneath and align it and bring it down. It's a fairly fine line stamp, so give it some good pressure. And there we have it. Give it some clear embossing powder to bring that black out. Here's a card we made earlier using the same stamp. Now we used a lot less red on this one than we did on this one, and so it's a different effect. You can see the darkness that I added to that gives it some dimension to the flower. We also added something else to this set. We used a phrase with a freehand frame on it, and it came from set number 900. This is our freehand phrase set. It has 6 floral kind of phrases or garden phrases, and a little square and a circle that they all fit into. Freehand phrase set number 900.